Not everybody is happy with the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. A lot of them are trying to mine for some sort of good news to come out of this. Maybe it's not over. Maybe we can still get that boy. Well, they're pretty much sunk at the state level. But hey, there's that federal thing that allows us to just keep charging people until we can get a conviction. So they bring in a lawyer, Natalie Teston, and they ask her, Natalie, is there some way that we could resurrect good news from all of our misfortunes? Is there a way to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat? Natalie Teston is a lawyer from Georgia. She practices, get this, family law from Georgia. That makes her perfect for weighing in on Kyle Rittenhouse, accused of violating state laws in Wisconsin related to gun charges. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and listen to her keen insights, of which none of us could have ever figured out without her help. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Kyle Rittenhouse on 7 charges in the criminal case. Now, Justin, you asked a local attorney if his legal troubles really are over today.
And they're not. With this
Yes, they are.
high-profile criminal case now closed, we wanted to talk to a local attorney for what is next. And I asked Gainesville lawyer Natalie Teston if Rittenhouse can still face some legal challenges.
Now remember here, we need to bring Natalie in to bring us this valuable insight.
Good question. So at this point, the state criminal saga is over, right? With a full acquittal, there is no sentencing hearing, obviously, and the state cannot appeal this verdict. So this layer of the process has reached a conclusion.
So far, so good. Thanks for this, Natalie. We appreciate it.
So now the question remains, will he be charged at the federal level? Will federal prosecutors indict him for federal crimes that may have been committed during these acts?
Like what, Natalie? If you're going to go on a television show to talk about the federal crimes that he could be charged with, why not tell us what those are?
And then you've also got what happens on the civil side. Will the families of the individuals who were shot and Mr. Grosskreutz, will he sue Mr. Rittenhouse and maybe even attach Mr. Rittenhouse's parents as well in a personal injury or wrongful death claims?
Yeah, Wendy Rittenhouse is a prime target for a major civil suit because she's loaded with so much money. Now, keep in mind, Anthony Huber already filed a lawsuit, and that was tossed. She didn't do her research. Gage Grosskreutz has a lawsuit going on. It has no chance of getting anywhere. Gage took care of that on the witness stand, but it was pretty clear that his admission that he had pointed the gun at Kyle, and only because of that did Kyle shoot him, and that he withheld key information in his lawsuit has pretty much sunk him.
And civil court differs how? I mean, is the burden not as severe as it would be in a criminal case?
Yeah, you ask any middle school student, they can tell you that. Everybody knows that the burden of proof is lower in a civil trial. Even anti-Kyles, the people who wanted Kyle convicted, know that much. Well, okay, wait, let's not push it too far, okay?
Meaning, do you think that he has more exposure in a civil case?
Possibly, yes. So the burden in civil court is much lower. So in criminal court, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the highest legal burden that we have here in our country. In civil court, it's going to be by a preponderance of the evidence. So the plaintiffs would have to show that these actions or Mr. Rittenhouse was either negligent, more likely than not. They got to cross the 50-yard line. That's what preponderance of the evidence means.
Okay, they could have dragged somebody off a bus stop, stuck him in the studio with no preparation, and they could have rattled that off. But let's go ahead and go through this. What federal crimes could they charge Kyle with? Well, they're civil rights violations. Good luck. Remember, Officer Darren Wilson was not even charged for that. And while Officer Darren Wilson did fire in self-defense, we all know that, at least he shot a black person. Kyle shot 3 white dudes. There is not going to be a prayer of being able to convince a jury, all 12 members, that Kyle shot those guys because of their race or out of racial hatred. Good luck. Not a prayer. Now, what about the gun charge? Well, conceivably, Kyle could be charged with conspiracy surrounding the purchase of the gun. I find that to be highly unlikely. I think the feds examining the testimony of Dominick Black and Kyle Rittenhouse on the stand have very little chance of this. The sale of the gun looks like a typical trust situation where you buy the gun with the idea of holding on to it until you can transfer legal ownership. That is not a straw purchase. And the fact that Kyle was not handed the gun after the purchase to do what he wanted with it is going to make it almost impossible to prosecute Dominick Black. And of course, if you can't prosecute Dominick Black, you really can't do much with Kyle Rittenhouse either. And so the chances that the boys will face charges by the feds is probably, I'm guessing, 30%, 25%. The chances of a conviction are minimal, 1%. Okay, let's say 5%. All 12 members of the jury would have to agree that it was a straw purchase, even though the 3 people involved most heavily in the actual event, and therefore the only eyewitnesses to the event, all point towards the gun being purchased with the idea that it would be later transferred to Kyle Rittenhouse when he turned 18. What could the feds bring to the table to convict there? I have no idea. They need a witness. Maybe the Ace Hardware store clerk might be able to remember something. I overheard them say that they wanted to create this phony trust excuse, but they really were planning to give the gun to Kyle after the purchase or something like that. Other than that, I have no idea who would be brought in to testify. And so I don't think that the feds are looking forward to taking an L on this. I think they saw what happened to Binger and Krause and decided, yeah, we don't need any of that action. They have the January 6th thing to go after anyway, so that'll keep them busy. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, and thank you, Natalie Teston, for that invaluable insight. I really appreciate this. I learned so much.